Oh, that's fantastic. What a great timing for that audio cue there. It's that time again. The Super Adventure Box has returned. And, well, this year we've got several new juicy things to be running through that the devs have been adding over a couple of the recent updates. First of all, and it's quite old at this point, really, we're going to be doing the time trials. So they did kind of a Super Mario 8 red coin style thing where there are full-on adventures within the box and we can play through those. And also, there is a glitch system that Bract has got to check out. No new upgrades for the box this year, like full new power-ups, but hopefully the glitches are fairly interesting. They certainly added a cool new weapon set you can get from them, and I believe that there's certain special areas in the zones that you can climb on various platforms for. So Bract will be going to each of the new glitched locations, and we'll be demonstrating those. But starting off with a run-through of all of the speedrunny things. So I'll show you guys how this works. We hit up, say, World 1. And then once we're in World 1, we can go to Zone 1. You're going to want to do this on normal mode, not trib, not infantile. Infantile, of course, would completely undermine the whole idea because there'd just be rainbow bridges everywhere. And trib, well, a speedrun trib where you're collecting 8 coins throughout trib could totally exist. But that is not what we'll be running through here. So, we start our journey in the Sunny Glade for another playthrough. I can't remember. Did we do the infantile run-through as well at some point? I think we did. If we didn't, I'll have to be sure about this. But check it out at the start of the level now. And this is happening in all the zones. There is Gordon the Racing Choya. He was added a bit back now. So the Choya from Path of Fire are represented by the box. Pretty cool. And what we can do is interact with him. And he says grumble. As you guys, some of you might not even know this, but the Choya can't really communicate. They just say grumble, namble, mamble, and stuff like that. Collect all the magic coins. Sounds like a super adventure, we say. And it actually pops the adventure UI within the box, as you see here. And you can see daily, out of my guild and friends list, one person, Puma, managed to beat this in 1 minute 57 seconds, which is kind of amazing. Oh, no. The gold reward is 2 minutes, so they got in there 3 seconds ahead of the gold reward. The gold reward is actually really tight, and I tried this a couple of days ago and really struggled. So we'll see how we go going forwards. It's not a regular trip through the course, because we also have to take detours for these special coins that shakes things up a little bit. So I'm going to give it a couple of runs, and I'll show you guys the winning one. Let's do it. All right, so let's run through. I genuinely think that World 1 is really hard. It reminds me of how in the roller beetle races in regular Tyria, the shorter the race, the tougher it is, like the more technical it becomes. Like, I'm okay sort of long term. I'm sort of okay, like, identifying routes and sort of, I guess, the more strategy side of it. But the actual mechanical execution of the really short roller beetle races tripped me up way more. And in this example here as well, this is hard. So there's like 2 phases to these, and I'll show you one straight away. Phase 1 is this. On your first time through, you don't know where you're going. So I kind of default to running onto these treetops. This is what I usually do. But I realized, well, hold on, there's not a coin here. So it's kind of pointless to have come in this direction. And immediately I'm thinking, right, this is not just spam through a Super Adventure Box level. This is take a careful look at what's ahead of you. So as you actually look around with your camera, here I'm just trying to figure out how I want to go back to the start. I was going to let myself die, and then I realized I can just click the X and reset. But as you're running through the level, what you really want to do is look for where the coins are coming up, because the user interface does actually show them, like, overlaid for you. So you can kind of get a glimpse and a guess. There's another side to this as well, which is stressing out that you might have missed one. So the first coin here is very easy. It's on this flower. And yeah, that's kind of off the normal path, but also so is the starting point for this race, so it doesn't really mean much. I wonder where the starting point is for all of the more complicated levels later are going to be, and whether they're also in weird spots. And then this coin's very easy too, which lulls you into a full sense of security. So instead, I'm just going to jump down. And you see up ahead, you got those like weird blue icons. Those are the coins. Yeah, they're not red coins. I don't know if I made that clear. They're blue coins in this game, which is fair. And so, of course, what they're going to have you do is climb on top of this mountain, which you're obviously more than familiar with if you've been doing a lot of tribulation mode, but you're now doing it in the context that there's not spikes coming out everywhere that are going to kill you. And I actually really like this feature because there are, as amazing and as exhaustive as tribulation mode was, there are places in the zones that tribulation mode still doesn't touch. And the coins are an opportunity for us to go to those. I mean, hell, even in this zone, there's been some interesting places they could have taken us. Like right at the start, there's all those walls you can climb around on in that massive field that neither Trib nor this mode actually take you to. I mean, Trib has you climb that tree, I guess. So the biggest time save on this is this, all right? That right there. Instead of going all the way up on the left and climbing that stuff, you want to just jump. I probably lost a lot of that time there stalling with the barrel. And then the other trick as well is come onto this slope. My temptation is to do that tricky jump straight across the gap, but taking a right is faster. And I think you can be really tricky with these trees as well, like skipping over gaps that you normally wouldn't. Because, I mean, how often do you ever climb along those trees and really learn how to use them? Well, in this challenge, you can. And then this last coin here is a little bit tricky. Trib obviously has you go all the way around the back of the mountain and stuff, but you want to go up the normal way and then just go onto that sneaky little tree there with the ending coin here. So the goal is not to break the cage. The goal is to find the last coin, which is usually just near the cage, as far as I know. As I talk to you guys, I haven't actually done the later levels. I'm really excited to see how they go. So yeah, I mean, I think I was really optimal with that. That's a few runs in, and I still only beat it by 7 seconds. 7 seconds. Like, that's tight. And I think that the longer the level, or at least I hope, like I said, I haven't played them all yet, I hope that the longer the level, the more leeway they give us. And I'll explain why I'm kind of hoping that based on Zone 2, which we'll get to in a second. So yeah, that's the idea, really, in principle. We'll move straight on into Zone 2. What I think's really fascinating, especially if you guys have just gone through and watched my whole series about the Super Adventure Box, you know, our initial normal playthrough and then our Tribulation one, it's amazing how quick you can get through this. Like, there's so much content in this zone. Go back and watch my video on this just in normal mode, but actually going to the shops and getting the secrets and finding the baubles. And, you know, how long did I spend here? Like 20, 40 minutes? And we got done that quick. This is something I've always been fascinated. For every, like, LP and gameplay series I've ever done on my channel, I love the idea of capping them off with a speed run, where you just show all the tricks that people do, learning to go really fast. I've never really done it because speedruns take a lot of practice and work and learning for just like one video in the end. It's not a good idea. But I've always liked the idea of like going to someone, getting their permission to do a commentary on their speedrun. And it's no different here in Super Adventure Box, except the devs are actually encouraging me to do it because I get achievement points and stuff, so hey. So, we're into the next zone now. Obviously, it's a little bit longer. Both in terms of the secrets and stuff that it adds, but also in terms of just it is straight up longer. And the flag you see is up on this nice archway here. Still pretty obvious to find, though. I did struggle a little bit. And again, this is a little bit in. So we're going to collect the magic coins. What I'm going to do in these videos, guys, is I'm not just showing you victory laps, okay? There is a chance that I will not make it in this footage. And we can wonder together whether I will or how close I'll get. And you can, as I'm going here, you can wonder, oh, did he hit that route a little bit too closely? Did he struggle a little bit? And we'll see whether it's a winning run or not towards the end. I'm not going to force you to watch through the whole, you know, race over and over and over again. But I will show you dud runs that nonetheless, you know, give you a full sense. Anyway, so, again, this level, I think, is really cool. Tribulation mode has a weird alternate path out near the B-Dog that basically no one plays because it's very easy to skip. And so you don't see it. I was hoping that the blue coins would take us there. They really kind of don't. Again, I think the devs could have been a bit more inspired, but maybe they were scared of frustrating people too much by artificially lengthening the level too much, only for you to get to the end, realize that you're a couple of seconds out. Like, I almost rage quit out of this, honestly, even in Zone 1. After a couple of those fails, and I'm like a second away, I'm like, is this worth it? Is this all going to be so difficult? The idea of tribulation mode, you can just skip huge chunks of. It's really interesting because shortly before I record these videos, the architect of the box, Josh Foreman, actually has been producing streams where he goes back through. He's not with the studio anymore. So I guess he got permission or he's just doing it. He's talking through all of the stuff he thought about as he made it. It's really incredible because a lot of it, he was totally okay with people breaking the boundaries of the game because that was kind of an old school thing. But at the same time, it would have been nice to have anticipated what boundaries they'd break, and I don't think he anticipated as many as people did in the end with Tribulation mode. Here, these monkeys are pretty scary. I failed a few times with these just because if you run into them, they'll knock you around. And if you're standing still waiting for a coconut, they can be a bit annoying. And of course, this blue coin is really cool because it puts you to a different area of the trees that I never run through, ever. I never go this route. But I do think this is the fastest one. And then I bump my head there. Usually I like to go off on the left a little bit. And I was always getting stuck on those mushrooms. But yeah, they're really, really worthwhile streams. I definitely recommend you guys check them out. What's also fascinating is, you know, the guy was making a lot of this stuff like 6-7 years ago now. And he's forgotten a lot. And, you know, he's not ashamed of that. And he's not scared to talk about the stuff that he's forgot. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it does make them quite profound viewing experiences. Because me as a player, I'm always looking for, like, my experience to be affirmed by the fact there's, like, someone at the studio who's, like, knows what I'm going through. And is holding my hand and is telling me it's okay, you know. And the truth is that a lot of stuff in a lot of games, it's brings into very stark realization for me that a lot of the insights and ideas that developers had, particularly for older games, they do evaporate. And the only meaning that comes from the game now is the meaning of the players and what they take out of it. It's that whole thing about art, you know. Art is, you know, less about what gets put in and is more about what's getting taken out of it. And you kind of really do have to believe in the death of the author there, because it quite literally really happens. Like, the person who built this box is gone, because most of those details have been lost to time, you know. So anyway, you'll see with the victory screen here, this one was really easy. So there's something you should know, and I haven't really shown you, but when I was doing Zone 1 and I completed the whole course a couple of times and was just a couple of seconds out, when I went for this course, if I made even like a slight mistake, I would just restart. And then I would restart. And I got a sense. So, you know, by the time I finally finished a run, I expected it to be pretty solid. That tends to be my strategy. That's how I did the Griffin races and stuff with Path of Fire. And that means that this run here, when I end, I ended up way below the threshold. Way below. 3 minutes 30? Well, there you have it. And you guys can follow along with this to get your own good times here as well. I'm going to split this here. And in the next part, we'll do the next 2 zones. One of which is very long, as you guys know. The Rushing Rapids. And I'm looking forward to it because I love that zone, but I'm also scared because it's such a tricky zone. These videos will probably get a bit longer when we get into those later ones, and then we'll have a look at the glitches. So thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one very soon. Take it easy.